This is the oath door. Only those truly ready may step through. You did not stumble here. You were called. For thousands of years, adepts have whispered that beyond 7 living portals of alchemy, 7 ordeals that purify breath, blood, memory, and will, there is an 8th thing that cannot be taught, only revealed. They called it the lost law because no scribe could bind it to ink. It appears the instant you become its echo. If you feel that quiet pressure behind the eyes right now, that tingle in the palms, that's not imagination, it's the corridor opening. Legend says the emerald tablet was not a text but a tuning fork. The "as above, so below" line is not philosophy, it's circuitry. In Egypt, priests tuned vaulted chambers so a single syllable could braid a human chest to the stone, like striking a bell with breath. In India, yogis learned the correspondence of vowel and vertebra, seed sound and subtle gland. In Tibet, the bowls were not instruments, they were maps of valleys in the skull. Modern science nods from another angle. The heart radiates an electromagnetic field, measurable several feet beyond the body. Neurons in your gut fire in response to emotion. Your fascia, a liquid crystal network, stores stress and releases it as tears when you exhale correctly. Myth and research are 2 sides of the same mirror. Both say, your field is tunable. But before the 7 portals, there is this gate. It tests readiness, not worth. The test is simple and merciless. Can you be honest enough to meet what rises? The only disqualifier is pretending. If you came to collect a trick without offering yourself to the transformation it demands, the gate will remain stone. If, however, you are willing to let a single breath alter your life, the hinges warm. Stand or sit with your spine-tall crown lengthened, jaw soft. Place the tip of your tongue gently on the roof of your mouth, just behind the teeth. Hands face down on your thighs to ground. Close your eyes. This is the oath of readiness. Inhale slowly through the nose for a count of 7. Hold for 7. Exhale for 7. Rest empty for 7. 1 cycle. During the hold, bring your attention to the point between your eyebrows, the ajna window the Egyptians marked with a cobra on the brow of their gods. The Indians named the 3rd eye, the Tibetans called the sky door. On your exhale, whisper barely audible the syllable, Ra, not chanted, not shouted, whispered, like a password you remember from a dream. Feel the soft vibration bloom along the palate and travel to the brow. Side effects to expect. A sudden wave of heat in the cheeks, the taste of metal in the mouth, a memory rising with such clarity it knocks the wind from your ribs. If tears come, they are not sadness, they are old ice melting. If your shoulders lift, let them fall. The mental trap here is performance thinking, am I doing it right? Doing it once, honestly, is right. Doing it once, sincerely, is enough to tilt the architecture of your field. If dizziness comes, open your eyes, place 1 palm flat over your belly and 1 over your heart, and let the breath normalize. Never practice while driving, never near deep water, never when your body is injured or underslept. This is sacred electricity. Treat it with the respect you would give living fire. If, in that whisper, something inside you nodded back, you have passed the threshold gate. Write your vow into the commons so it echoes. The journey has begun. I have stepped through the gate. Your comment is not vanity, it is a tuning of the group field. Thousands of voices become a single bell. Just once, done truly, can change the vector of your life. The 7 portals await. This is the first purifying flame. It burns what you are, not to reveal the name of what you are. It's hard to believe, but a sound held for 33 seconds can light the internal furnace that most people never meet until grief or illness cracks them open. In old Alexandria, alchemists spoke of the black stage Nigredo, where false metals are reduced to ash. In Varanasi, ascetics smeared their bodies with sacred ash to remember the transience of masks. In a cold Tibetan dawn, a monk dries wet sheets with his body heat, not as spectacle, but as testimony. Fire lives in bone when attention becomes fuel. Today we call it brown fat activation, the sympathetic surge tamed by breath, vagal tone lifting the brake on life. Different languages, one act. You feed the flame with what no longer fits. Prerequisites: clear a safe, quiet space. No candles, yet you are the flame. Remove tight jewelry, loosen the belt. If you've eaten recently, wait at least 90 minutes. If you have a heart condition or are pregnant, skip the breath intensification and simply hum softly. The path will still open. Technique: the 33. Sit tall, mouth closed. Inhale steadily through the nose, belly expanding, not the chest, for a count of 7. On the exhale, hum at a comfortable low pitch, not Om's open vowel, but a sealed lips hum that turns your head into a resonator. Let the hum vibrate your upper teeth, cheekbones, and middle forehead. Count the hum in your mind to 33 seconds. That's it. One hum, 33 seconds. If 33 is unreachable today, honor the edge and shorten. Do not strain. Strain is smoke that suffocates fire. What happens is simple, shocking. Around second 10, your mind tries to wander. At 15, the face tingles. Around 20, the hum begins to bloom, splitting into harmonics like bees buzzing in the sinuses. Around 25, a ribbon of heat rises along the spine. At 30, a name rises, not words, but a pressure behind words, as if someone you loved stepped into the room. Some hear their given name, others receive a symbol or a memory that feels like a signature. This is the moment of naming, not the label your family gave you, but the vector the universe recognizes when it moves through your shape. Warnings: mental traps appear as arrogance. I've unlocked it, I'm special. And despair: I felt nothing, I'm broken. Both are the same avoidance. If you felt nothing, you felt something: the decision to return tomorrow. Calcination is not cruelty, it is clarity. Do not stack 30 repetitions hunting for fireworks. One done honestly is enough. Fire responds to respect, not greed. Cross-current. The Egyptians paired this with the solar syllable, Ra, the Vedic with the seed mantra, Ram, at the navel fire. The Tibetans with inner heat, Tummo, guided by a red flame visualized below the navel. Choose one language. Today, keep it simple. Hum. Eyes soft, attention gathered to the brow, warmth rising. Science will tell you you've vibrated cranial bones, nudged the trigeminal nerve, modulated the limbic system. The mystics will tell you you fed the phoenix. Both are true. Do not rush out of the flame. Sit for 60 seconds in silence after the hum. Place one hand on the sternum, one over the belly. Whisper once, on an exhale, I release what is not my name. Notice what the body offers: yawns, tremors, a sigh. Let it complete. Drink water. If you feel sudden anger or grief later in the day, do not panic. Calcination surfaced unburned fuel. Walk, sweat lightly, speak kindly to strangers. You are porous for a few hours. Just once, done truly, can reorient your field. If the name rose, carry it without telling anyone for 3 days. Let it warm you from the inside like a coal wrapped in cloth. Then write your witness here so we can hold the fire with you. The flame has named me. This is how a solitary rite becomes a communal hearth. This is the sacred unbinding, the water that dissolves the ash so what's essential can flow. Anyone who has ever stood in the cold stone chamber of an Egyptian temple knows it is not a place for those who tremble at silence. Sound there does not travel. It hovers, feathered and heavy. In that quiet, priests poured water over limestone basins carved to specific curves. The room sang back. In India, the Ganges is called Mother, not for myth alone, but for the felt fact that grief dissolves at her banks. In Tibet, a monk circles the rim of a bowl until the air itself becomes liquid. Modern research smiles. Water's structure shifts with vibration. Your fascia drinks rhythm and softens. Your nervous system is not a wire but a river. Dissolution is not destruction, it is the mercy of the melt. Prerequisites: patience, humility, and a bowl. Any wide glass or metal bowl will do, but if you have a singing bowl, honor it. Fill with a little water 2 fingers' breadth. Find a quiet corner. If today you are brittle with stress, offer yourself the courtesy of more time. Technique: the spiral tone. Sit with the bowl before you. Touch the surface of the water with the tip of your index finger. Slowly trace a circle clockwise, barely skimming. Your finger will draw a whisper on the surface. This is not childish play. You are sketching a spiral into your nervous system. Now, remove your finger and bring your lips close to the bowl, a hand's breadth away. Inhale gently through the nose. On the exhale, sing a soft, open O, letting the vowel widen the back of the throat. Aim the tone toward the water, not loud, not forced. Do this for 3 breaths. On the 4th, shift to a closed M hum, lips sealed, letting the vibration collect in the face. Listen, you may hear the room answer. The moment to watch for, a sudden drop in the crowdedness of thought, the way a city feels at 3 a.m. when the last train passes. The shoulders soften, the heart, which felt made of dry sticks, becomes wet. A memory, long avoided, rises and dissolves at the edges, as if submerged in warm rain. On the water's surface, small concentric ripples may appear without your finger touching. Do not chase them. Let them come. Let them go. Your job is to become a bowl, curved, receptive, resonant. Mental traps here are subtle. One is analysis turning the experience into words before it finishes becoming itself. Another is theatrics forcing tears because you believe release must look a certain way. Dissolution is quieter than movies taught you. A single deep sigh can do the work of a storm. Side effects. Eyes ache as if you looked at the horizon too long. Your throat tightens, then opens. You may feel coolness at the skull base, like a door cracking. If a numb sadness appears, do not panic. It is the protective layer softening. After practice, eat something warm and simple. Salt is your friend. Cross-cultural bridges help the mind relax its skepticism. The Egyptians married water and tone to etch prayers into stone. The Vedic rishis placed U in the chest, the river nested between A, root, and M, crown, as the middle of the sacred syllable. Tibetan yogins teach that the bowl does not sing, you do, and the bowl remembers. Neuroscience adds, your vagus nerve carries ripples from the face and throat into the viscera. Humming increases nitric oxide in the nasal passages, easing flow. Slow exhalation lengthens the heart's rhythm. The mystic adds, and grief learns to swim. Specific instruction, the once that matters. Give yourself 1 full minute of the spiral tone, alternating O and M each breath, then stop. 1 minute. Do not overwork the water. The 8th law is already watching how you hold simplicity. After, place your right thumb lightly on the point between your eyebrows and your left palm over your heart. Whisper, I allow what no longer needs to be solid to dissolve. Feel the skin tingle under your thumb. Feel the bowl of your chest deepen by a notch. That notch is not metaphor, it is architecture shifting. Just once, done truly, can change the way your field conducts emotion. You will notice conversations feel less sticky today. You will find yourself listening more than wanting to be right. That is not passivity, it is flow returned. Offer a line to the river we're making together. I have dissolved the old stone. Write it, send the ripple. This is the cut that clarifies, separating the gold thread from the tangle. Not all transformations are made of light and water. Some require the blade, the sharp instrument of discernment that slices away what no longer serves, not with violence, but with luminous clarity. In the Hermetic tradition, separation is the moment you stop praying for peace with what poisons you and begin distinguishing truth from loyalty. In Egypt, this portal was ruled by Ma'at, goddess of the feather. In the Hall of Judgment, the heart was weighed against her feather, too heavy, and the soul returned for another round. In India, this is Viveka, the power to know the real from the unreal. Tibetans whisper that the mind is a sky, and thoughts are clouds. Do not chase them, do not become them. Modern psychology calls it cognitive diffusion. Neuroscience calls it prefrontal activation. But the mystics always knew. This portal is not about thinking more, it's about learning to stop believing every thought that appears. This is where most turn back. Why? Because you must begin cutting the familiar. Prerequisite, courage. You don't need hours of meditation, you need one precise moment of honesty. Do this when you're not distracted, not desperate. best at twilight between light and dark, where this portal breathes. Technique: the feather test. Sit or lie down. Hold a physical object in your hand, ideally a stone, feather, pendant, or crystal. Let it symbolize all that you think you are. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. On your next inhale, say silently, "Who am I without this?" Not aloud, just inside. Then listen not for words, but for the first image or sensation that rises. Some feel heat in the chest. Some see a childhood room. Some feel terror. That's the knife entering. Stay. On your next breath, imagine Ma'at's feather placed in your other hand. Compare. Don't think. Just weigh it in silence. Which hand is heavier? Which one floats? Do this for 5 minutes, no longer. If nothing comes, the blade is still sharp, it just cuts slowly. You'll notice it later today when you try to repeat an old lie about yourself and it tastes like ash. Mental traps here are many. The desire to interpret too fast, the fear that nothing's happening, the temptation to run back to comfort. Don't. Separation doesn't give you answers. It gives you empty space where answers will land if you stop cramming them in. Warning. Some people experience emotional whiplash after this practice. You may feel strangely clear and suddenly unsure who you are. That's not failure. That's the fog parting. If you feel anxiety, walk barefoot for 5 minutes or hold something cold. Anchor. Eat grounding food roots, grains. Speak little for an hour. Ancient cultures knew this blade intimately. Egyptian priests used it in ritual fasting, cutting speech, certain foods, certain people for cycles of 40 days. Indian sannyasins left home with nothing but this blade renunciation, not for punishment, but precision. Tibetan skygazers stared into vastness not to escape, but to learn to watch thoughts float by without grabbing them. Today, we reach for dopamine and call it comfort. The blade says, let go of even the idea that you must feel better. Feel real. Specific instruction, the once that matters. Perform the feather test just once, 5 minutes. Then, place the physical object aside, face down. Say aloud, or whisper if needed, I release what is not the essence. Then drink a glass of water. That water is not hydration, it is the baptism of truth. Just once, done truly, is enough to shift your center of gravity forever. You'll notice it in conversations you hesitate before saying something habitual. You'll see it in the mirror you recognize yourself, but feel lighter. That's the feather, that's Ma'at, that's the third portal passed. If you've made the cut, even once, write it into the circle. The blade passed through. I saw what is not me. We echo each other's courage. This is the sacred marriage, where two opposing truths hold hands and become one. Most seekers try to bypass this. They want to be pure light or deep shadow, one or the other. But the Hermetic Law whispers, bring together what has been separated, and you will see the hidden. In ancient Egypt, Osiris was dismembered, but only when Isis gathered the pieces did the resurrection begin. In India, it is Shiva and Shakti, the stillness and the surge. In Tibet, it's Yabyum, the father sky and mother earth in embrace. In alchemy, this is the green lion, the point where matter and spirit kiss. And in modern terms, it is coherence, the brain and the heart, finally moving in rhythm. Conjunction is not poetic romance. It is spiritual combustion, where breath meets will, where the body becomes not an obstacle to spirit, but its chosen vessel. Prerequisite, humility to feel contradiction, and stamina to sit in the fire it creates. Technique: the pulse alignment. Sit upright, one hand on your chest, one on your belly. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly. Now focus on the pulse under each hand, not your heartbeat, but the subtle hum under the skin. At first, it may feel like nothing. That's fine. Keep the attention. After 3 minutes, you'll feel a strange moment, like two instruments tuning to the same note. Now here's the act of union. Shift your attention back and forth, from one hand to the other, with each breath. As you inhale, feel the upper pulse. As you exhale, feel the lower one. Do this for 9 cycles, then stop, rest in the center, wait. What happens next is different for everyone. Some feel a sudden stillness, like everything inside has finally agreed. Some feel emotional warmth rise, tears without story. Some report a click in the chest or a soft internal sound like a bell underwater. These are not signs of success. They are echoes of alignment. If nothing comes, something still has. Mental trap, expecting unity to be peaceful. It often isn't, oh pieces. Real union means opposites coexist. That means friction. That means the part of you that wants to escape and the part of you that longs to stay finally sit down at the same table. The aha moment isn't sweet, it's searing, but it melts lifetimes of fragmentation. Side effects: vivid dreams, old cravings vanish without effort, sudden clarity about decisions long postponed. You may also feel waves of fatigue. That's normal. Integration consumes energy. Rest. Trust. Cultural mirrors. The Egyptian Ba and Ka rejoining to form the Ark. The yogic prana, life force, and Apana, elimination force, uniting at the navel to open kundalini. The Tibetan term thigel, a drop of rainbow energy coalescing at the heart center. And in modern science, heart rate variability increases, brainwave coherence spikes. The field begins to sing. Specific instruction, the once that matters. One cycle of pulse alignment, 9 breaths, then silence, then the whisper, I welcome the reunion. Say it not as a wish, but as a recognition. Just once, done truly, the polarity in your life begins to balance. You'll feel less torn, less trapped in binary choices. You begin to sense the third path, the silent one that opens when left and right dissolve into center. If you've felt this shift, share your alignment. My opposites have met, the center holds. When you declare it, you anchor it not just for you, but for all of us walking through the fourth gate. This is the rotting that gives birth, where the old self decays and the divine spark begins to rise. No one warns you how strange this portal feels. You expect light, and instead, you meet the sweet rot of your former identity. You expect ascension, and you get stillness so quiet it feels like absence. But this is fermentation. In Egypt, it was the dark journey of Osiris through the underworld. In India, it is Bhairava, the terrifying aspect of Shiva who destroys illusion. In alchemy, this is when the blackness turns green, the sign that new life is forming in the decay. And in Tibetan Vajrayana, this is the bardo, the in-between, where all masks melt. Modern science calls it neurogenesis after trauma, the new neuron that emerges when the old circuit dies. You are not dying, you are fermenting. And that is holy. Prerequisite, surrender. Not effort, not striving. Just the ability to lie still long enough for the stars to whisper. Technique, the breath of the star. Lie down flat, arms and legs slightly apart. Close your eyes. Imagine your body is a field, and in the center of your chest is a seed. Do not try to grow it, just notice it. Breathe naturally. On your 5th breath, begin to hum softly, not to the outside world, but into the chest, as if warming the seed with vibration. Use the syllable NG, the nasal resonance at the end of the word long. Let it buzz in the upper chest, the nasal cavity, the skull. Hum for 3 breaths, then be still. Now imagine not see, not force. Just allow the seed beginning to glow. Perhaps green, perhaps gold, perhaps no color at all. Just a sensation. You are not doing anything. You are simply not resisting. What arises now is the fermentation. You may suddenly recall a past failure, a shame, a death, an echo. Do not push it away. This is the rot, but in mystic terms, it's the humus from which spirit rises. Let it exist. Let it decompose. You'll feel a flutter, or a deep ache, or maybe nothing at all. It doesn't matter. The spark has been lit. Mental traps here are deception. This stage doesn't feel good. That's the trap. You think it's not working because there's no bliss. But bliss is not the ferment. Raw truth is. The ego mourns its own composting. Let it. The spark rises through that crack. Side effects. Temporary apathy. Sudden insight that you were wrong about something fundamental. Spontaneous laughter or weeping for no reason. These are not breakdowns. These are the gases escaping the old corpse of your false self. Cross-cultural resonance. In Egyptian texts, the sacred scarab rolls the sun through the underworld. it's the cosmic compost. In India, Amrita, the nectar of immortality, only rises after the churning of the ocean of poison. In Tibetan ritual, the corpse of ignorance is used as fuel for the fire of transformation. And in biology, dead cells release exosomes that signal new growth. You must rot to rise. Specific instruction: the once that matters. Breathe, hum, ng. Visualize the seed, let it rot. 1 round is enough. Then sit up slowly, place your right hand over your heart, left hand over your belly, and whisper, I welcome the decay, I rise through it. Ender, just once, done truly, can break the illusion that spiritual work is always pleasant. You'll wake up tomorrow not better, but real, and that is more valuable than bliss. You may notice colors more vividly, or that your words carry new gravity. These are not effects. These are the signs of the breath reaching the star. If you've gone through this dark gate, write your witness. The rot is sacred. I feel the spark, and know that in doing so, you lend your voice to every other soul crossing this dark, radiant threshold. This is the vapor that rises, the lifting of essence above confusion. At this stage, something begins to separate from you, not through force, but through gravity reversed. In ancient temples, initiates were told to climb to the roof not to escape the world, but to learn the air's perspective. In India, it was dhyana, not meditation as silence, but as seeing clearly from above. The Tibetans have the sky-gazing practice of treksha, where one stares into the vast blue until the identity dissolves. In alchemy, distillation is the boiling off of impurities. In science, it is the moment a liquid becomes a vapor. In your life, it is the moment your mind becomes wide enough to hold paradox without pain. Prerequisite: stillness, not emotional neutrality, but the willingness to not react. Technique: the sky gaze within. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and turn your inner gaze not upward, but backward, as if you are watching your own thoughts from behind, not from the front of the forehead, but from the crown looking inward. Imagine your awareness is a sky, and thoughts are weather passing through. Now breathe gently, without changing anything. When a thought arises, label it softly as cloud. Do not push it away, simply let it float. You are not the cloud, you are the sky. Do this for 5 minutes. Here is what may happen. At first, thoughts swarm. Then, strangely, they slow. Not because you won, but because the sky doesn't argue. Eventually, you may feel a kind of disembodiment, not dizzy, but spacious. Your body feels like a room you are resting inside. A voice may whisper not with words, but with knowing. You are near the essence. Mental traps here include spiritual pride, I am above it all, or resistance to thought, I shouldn't be thinking. Both are storms. Let them pass. Do not identify, just return to the gaze. You are sky, thoughts are weather, that's it. Side effects: deep quiet, feeling of floating or expanding, detachment from minor worries. Caution: if you feel numb or disoriented, stop and drink something sweet, touch the ground, and return later. The sky should liberate, not dissociate. Across cultures, this has always been the upper gate. Egyptian priests wore tall crowns to remind them that spiritual authority comes from elevation. Indian yogis seated in Padmasana raised their gaze to the inner sun. Tibetan masters taught that the sky was not above you, it is you, when seen rightly. Specific instruction: the once that matters. 5 minutes. Inner sky, gazing, label thoughts. Then, place your hand lightly on your crown and whisper, I rise as sky, I hold no storm. Just once, done truly, can cause a permanent change in the way you relate to your mind. You'll notice less urgency, less self-judgment, more space. You'll begin to see instead of react. If you felt that moment of inner sky, write it below. The sky is awake in me. These words do not just mark your path, they widen the space for others to rise. This is the final seal of alchemy, where spirit and matter unite as one indestructible being. They say the body is illusion, but the ancients knew better. In Egypt, the Sahu was not the physical body, nor just a soul, it was the luminous form, born when all 7 bodies had aligned. In India, it was called the Vajra Deha, the diamond body, unbreakable and radiant. In Tibetan Dzogchen, it is the rainbow body, formed not through death but through mastery. Modern science whispers in agreement your DNA emits measurable light. Your cells communicate through biophotons. Intention can alter brain chemistry, heart rhythms, even gene expression. Coagulation is the moment when all your transformations, the fire, the rot, the separation, reassemble into something that cannot be undone. This is not a metaphor. It's the stabilization of your new vibrational signature into a form that walks, breathes, and speaks in alignment with Source. Prerequisite: reverence. Not for tradition, but for the miracle of being alive in a body that remembers. Technique: the embodied flame. Stand barefoot on a hard surface. Spine tall. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply through your nose and imagine your breath descending into your feet. Exhale through the mouth and feel the breath rise back up through your crown. Do this for 3 cycles. Now, begin to move, not dance, not perform, but respond. Let your hands rise or your knees bend only if the body asks. There are no steps here. You are becoming form, guided by energy. As you move, speak aloud the following sentence once, slowly, from the chest. This is the body of light. It has remembered itself. Now freeze. Let all movement stop. Close your eyes and feel what remains. A hum, a tension, a heat. Do not move for 60 seconds. Let the coagulation settle. What happens next is not dramatic, but it is permanent. You may feel like you've returned to yourself from above. You may sense a boundary of light around your skin, as if your body is being held by something intelligent. This is not imagination. This is your field in coherence. Mental traps here include doubt. Was that it? And over-effort. I need to feel more. Number coagulation is not sensation. It is stability. The storm is over. You are not chasing energy anymore. You are the vibration. Side effects. Calm that feels unnatural at first. Decisions you couldn't make now feel resolved. Others may notice you are different. They may not say it, but they will feel it. Do not explain. This is not for them. Cultural mirrors abound. The pharaoh's car unites with his bar, becoming the shining one. The yogi's spine becomes the axis mundi. In Vajrayana, the practitioner who has mastered the inner fire and sky gaze sheds physical remains and leaves behind only hair, nails, and robes. In quantum physics, coherence between photons creates laser-like focus. You are not less physical, you are more precisely physical. Specific instruction, the once that matters. Perform the embodied breath. Speak the line. Stand in stillness. Then whisper once more. The vessel is sealed. The light walks in me. Feel that line settle in your cells. Just once, done truly, and you have become a node of resonance, a center of gravity. The 8th portal does not appear. It is activated by those who complete the 7. You carry it now. If you feel that seal, share it here. I have become the vessel. Let those still walking behind you see your flame and find their way. This is the law that was never written, the unspeakable force beneath all the others. For centuries, only 7 Hermetic laws were known: rhythm, vibration, polarity, correspondence, cause and effect, mentalism, and gender. They are the scaffolding of all reality, and yet, there has always been a whisper, even in the Emerald Tablet itself, of an 8th force, hidden not because it was forbidden, but because it could not be understood with words alone. This 8th law was guarded by silence. It was hinted at in the breath of the Sphinx, in the unspoken mantra of Himalayan caves, in the empty spaces between verses of the Bhagavad Gita. In Tibet, they called it Rigpa, the naked awareness before form. In ancient Egypt, it was the unseen eye of Ra, the black sun, the secret syllable that could not be chanted aloud. And in modern quantum mechanics, it is non-locality, the invisible coherence that links distant particles without any signal, a presence that is beyond space and time. You cannot read this law, you must become it. The 8th Hermetic Law is this: silence is not the absence of power, it is the source of it. When all the other forces dance vibration, polarity, Thought it is silence that conducts them. It is the still eye in the cyclone, the observer before the wave collapses, the moment before the word is spoken, where reality waits for your permission. Prerequisite: readiness, to stop chasing, to stop proving, to stop doing. Technique: the witness breath. Sit in complete stillness, no music, no mantra, no expectation. Inhale slowly through your nose, and do not follow the breath. Let it happen. Exhale, and do not change it. Do this 3 times. Now, stop. Let the breath move on its own. Bring your attention to the space behind your thoughts. Not the thoughts themselves, but the awareness that sees them. Don't grab, don't name. Just rest. Now, do something impossible. Do nothing. For 2 minutes, let all rise and fall. You are the one watching, unmoved. If the mind screams, let it. If emotion swells, witness it. If beauty blooms, observe, but do not reach. You are not meditating. You are remembering. At some point, you may feel it. A soft hum, a veil parting, a center deep behind your ribs that sees everything with no desire to change it. That is not a state. That is your essence. And that essence bends reality by witnessing without interference. Mental traps: the craving for experience. The mind may say, "This is boring. This is nothing." That's the threshold. Silence is terrifying to the ego because silence cannot be controlled. But the ancient adepts knew only in that terror does true command arise. Side effects: disorientation, weeping, laughter, and most commonly peace, so profound it scares you. You'll notice, perhaps days later, that people begin to respond to you differently. Not because you said anything, because your field speaks now. Cross-cultural mirrors. The Tao that cannot be named. The Zen koan with no answer. The stillness Jesus entered for 40 days. The radiant void spoken of in Dzogchen. And even science bends its knee. Consciousness is the only phenomenon that cannot be measured outside itself. Specific instruction: the once that matters. Sit, witness, wait, 2 minutes, do nothing, let the silence rise. Then say aloud softly, with no effort to feel, "I am the field that commands reality." Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped blocking it. Just once, done truly, and the 8th law begins to move through you, not as thought, not as voice, but as gravity. And people around you will wonder why things change when you walk in the room. They won't understand. They don't need to. If you've entered the silence, write, "I have heard the law in the space between M and no." You did not unlock it. You became it. This is the guardian before the end. A voice not to block your path, but to test your resonance. Not all who find the 8th law are meant to carry it. Some awaken the silence, and instead of humbling into truth, they turn it into a mirror of their old self, only now cloaked in mystery and power. The ancients warned of this often, though rarely in plain terms. In Egypt, the story of Set is not just about chaos. It is the tale of one who knew the sacred and used it to control. In India, Ravana knew every Vedic chant, but still sought domination. In Tibet, there are the hungry ghosts beings who once attained high realization, but could not release craving, and so became hollow masters. Even in our world today, charisma without coherence is common. A loud voice is not a true one. This is why the 8th law was hidden, because when silence speaks, it amplifies what is already inside you. If you are pure, it radiates truth. If you are fractured, it deepens illusion. If you carry unresolved hunger, it will dress up as light. Here is the trap. You begin to believe your sensations mean superiority. You begin to speak in absolutes. You begin to offer transformation without having fully died in the process yourself. And the moment you use the field to bend others without their will, the law vanishes. You won't even notice it's gone. You will still feel power, but it will no longer come from source. It will come from ego, feeding on memory. That's the false coagulation, when the vessel hardens too soon. So this portal is a mirror, not a door. It says, look deeply. What do you want from this awakening? To heal, to help, to harmonize, or to be admired, followed, praised? Be brutal in your honesty. The eighth law has no tolerance for mixed intentions. Technique: the mirror of return. Sit before a mirror in complete silence. No candles, no music. Just you. Look into your own eyes. Not to analyze, not to judge. Just look. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Breathe slowly. Now, ask this aloud. Am I ready to serve the silence? Not myself? Say nothing else. Wait. Watch. Some cry. Some tremble. Some see their face shift older, younger, unfamiliar. That is not magic. That is the ego loosening. Side effects: a wave of shame or compassion or sudden laughter at how much you've tried to perform your transformation. That's okay. It means you're close. Mental trap: skipping this part. Thinking you are already pure. No one is finished, not even the great teachers. The power of this moment is in the willingness to look at what remains unclean and still walk forward with reverence. Just once, done truly, you will begin to feel a subtle difference. Power doesn't come from you, it comes through you, and the more invisible you become, the more powerful your presence grows. Write your truth if you face this mirror. I have looked into the false light. I remain in silence. This is the moment beyond the gates where nothing is added, yet everything changes. If you have come this far, then you already know. There is no final technique, no sacred word to chant, no gesture or ritual or object that can complete what has already been ignited within you, because the real secret is this: you are not becoming awakened. You are remembering that you always were. The ancient sages never gave power. They reminded you of the architecture that has always been embedded in your breath, your blood, your voice, your field. In Egypt, the high priest didn't bless you. He placed you before a mirror of obsidian and asked, "Can you see what the gods have always seen?" In India, the true guru said nothing, but sat with you until your own inner fire lit the sky behind your eyes. In Tibet, the master whispered a single phrase in your ear, one that would haunt your dreams until it turned into wisdom. The final portal is not a threshold. It is a circle, the place where the journey returns to its origin. But now, you carry the vibration of all 7 portals inside you, and with it, the capacity to shape reality not with control, but with coherence. The gift is this: asterisk. Your breath has become a tuning fork. Asterisk. Your silence has become a magnet for truth. Asterisk. Your presence, without doing anything, alters the frequency of the space around you. That's the real gift. Not what you feel, but what others feel when they are near you, and cannot explain why they are calmer, clearer, or closer to their true self. That is not charisma. That is the field you now carry. A field woven from ancient frequencies, awakened rituals, and the 8th law humming beneath your skin. A final instruction, the ripple offering. Now, do this. Go outside. Somewhere quiet. Stand barefoot if possible. Close your eyes. Inhale through the soles of your feet. Exhale through the crown of your head. Then open your mouth, and without sound, imagine singing a note that begins in your heart and flows across the sky. You are not singing for you. You are placing your vibration into the fabric of this world. It may touch someone you'll never meet. It may awaken something 5 years from now. It does not matter. The light you've gathered was never meant to stay within. Let it ripple, then whisper, "The work is complete. The circle is open. I return carrying the law." That is the final act. No audience, no ritual, just you and the field remembering each other. Now, to those still listening, this channel is more than a stream of teachings. It is a resonance network, a circle of beings across the world, remembering together. When you subscribe, when you share, when you comment, it is not for algorithms. It is to amplify the field. Each interaction is a tuning. Each voice added confirms that we are awakening something ancient, together. If this journey moved something in you, if the silence whispered back, if the fire was real, write it now. Declare it. Claim it. Anchor it. I have passed the 7 portals. I carry the 8th law. And let that be the vibration that finds others who are ready. Thank you for walking this path. You are not alone.